So, in order to benefit all, for the sake of all my sentient beings equally in the limits of space, you must attain the state of full enlightenment, full Buddhahood by every means. For this purpose, I shall now listen to the teachings of the sublime Dharma. So please adjust the motivation and clarify motivation in such a way as an appropriate manner. So then regarding section of teachings, we've arrived at a portion, page 178, where it says, rely on the means of achieving happiness in the next life. We've been at the section of training and going for refuge, the excellent door for entering the teaching. So then, after yesterday we were talking about how one contemplates that after death one achieves either two rebirths, either the happiness or suffering rebirths, two types of beings. And then we talk about suffering in the lower realms, and today we talk about training going for refuge, the excellent door for entering teaching. So here the refuge, if we have refuge in our mind stream, then then we enter into the rank of Buddhists and we become a follower of the three jewels. And if we do not have refuge within our mind streams, then we do not enter the rank of the followers of the three jewels. So therefore, training in this refuge, then this is the first point. And the second point is developing the faith of conviction. That's the root of all temporal and certain goodness. So here the faith of conviction refers to conviction in the law of cause and effect. So if we have conviction in the law of karma, and we were to cultivate this practice, observing the law of cause and effect, then it becomes a Dharma practice. Our practice then becomes Dharma practice, becomes Dharma. So it's at the beginning of all Dharma practices is the practice of karma, observing the law of cause and effect. And the result of that is the temporal happiness of rebirth in the higher realms, higher achievement, higher status, or and the ultimate happiness of certain goodness is liberation and omniscient Buddhahood. Yes.
방법 잠로다 시 강나된 접선을 주 대답된 접선을 요 제선의 접선을 나버져야 한다고 근데 다 sab지시.
Then the first one, going for refuge, explained in 4 parts. Firstly, the causes of going for refuge. Secondly, based on that, the objects to which we go for refuge. Thirdly, the way that you actually go for refuge. And fourthly, once that you've gone for refuge, the stages of precepts to be cultivated. Yes.
당번에 제주마요 감되네 가시보다 생님도 원조도 좋아도 쉬고 양 강대 제와다 로미데 내지 영어지는 내주 중요도 전성문을 들으면 뭔지 그지는 또 대제 선인들 저는 지금 선은 통관적 대대교 년년도 되거든요. 신임에서 시에서 뭐다 가벨에 냐면 총신 나고네 시신의 도저는 루동의 소산비 예의라고 지는 점수를 넣어제대 다니고 저희는 너무 보이는 너무 도전하면서 주진에서 되는 거는 점수지 시에서 뭐다로 너나 라는 로다서 벤지고다 군조도 tel해주는 거예요. 이 지금이 있노 다 잠도 줘대나 제를 다 잠도 되나 미치기 중에 잠도 랭게 잠도 쳔비 잠도 왔으니까 인도 되는 줘대나요 뭐라고 먹는 얘는 단단히 때만 이거 다 잠도 정화하시고 가서 이마다 집에 중원에 통을 잠도지 들리면서 다 이제는데 랜드도 다다 지와지서 좀 봐지 다 시위지에서 그래 고뇌지와가 로마에 같이 레지 영원제지 다내 대형 나눠서 다 비벨레 유뇨 투중조 나 매겨에 똑치 뭐 같은데 차대가 됐어 근데 조준 많아 쳔모 뭐 만나고지 뭐 만나고 노나는 차딩이 딜라 로추스 조선 주야 대소도 나도다 대번 먹여 남주인 대번 먹여 만나 트리드서 들리지가 노나 그 차대가 다 근데 손이게 더에 3일에 런치 왔는지 계속 초스 계기가 와서 근데 얘네들 개발이 좀 중요 그거가 또 첨부 근데 자대 아닌데 그냥 손은 도와도 의미에 대해서 당연히 손을 첨부는 나는 가서 줘야 나오지 그래도 나서라면 봐인데 대는 제시를 놓치지 대는 제시를 놓치지네 다 대는 쪽이 근데 좀 소리 놓치기를 정말 근데 대는 제시를 놓대 좀 주지지 다 근데 좀 소리 놓치는데 근데 잠때 군조선 대다 이거 대다 좀 누가 이거 예치기 봐 좀 늦죠 이거 다 이진이 보내려서
So then when one go for refuge, there are generally many causes for going for refuge. As mentioned here in the text, there is a refuge corresponding to the mental capacity of the being of the smaller capable being, and those according to the capacity of the being of the middling capable being, and those according to the capacity of the being of the greatest capable being. So therefore, there are there are many causes for going for refuge. However, here this particular refuge, the title for this section is called "Training Going for Refuge: The Excellent Door for Entering the Teaching." Therefore, here what is being expounded here is the refuge is common with the trainings of the path corresponding to the smaller capable being, the lesser capable being. So in general, what we contemplate, the reason for going for refuge in this section is because of understanding that we cannot remain eternally in this world due to the recollection of death and impermanence, and then understanding that after death, we do not decide where we are born, but rather it is our karma that it causes us to be born. Is a karma that decides, which of the two states, either of happiness or misery, that we are born into. So therefore, understanding the law of cause and effect, and also understanding that our positive karma, the virtues that we have created while we are alive, are extremely little, very few, and also very weak. And the negative karma they've created are many. The non-virtues we've engaged in are many, and also very extremely strong. So, in order to express that, the Norman Tsongkhapa quotes from Shantideva's engaging the Bodhisattva deeds, which says that just as a flash of lightning in the dark cloud momentarily illuminates the darkness of a black night. So here, the darkness, is a analogy of the sins and non-virtue that we are constantly engaged in. So it's almost like a eternal dark night, that envelopes us. Then here, then also mentions about the lightning, flash of lightning in the darkness. Once in a while, this black, this flash of lightning lights up the darkness of the night sky. So here, due to the power of the Buddha, then once in a while, we are able to generate a virtuous mind and engage in virtue, practice virtue. So in general, understanding this, then also understanding this due to this analogy that most of the virtue we create are extremely weak, and the non-virtue that we engage in is fiercely powerful. So therefore, generating the mind and understanding that how such heavy negative karma would cause us to readily fall into the lower realms at any point of time. So generating the fear and dread in one's mind, and then having such fear and dread in one's mind, then one seeks a source of refuge. So therefore, having the cause here, which is the fear and dread of rebirth in the lower realms, and going for refuge to three jewels, and also not only having the fear as one of the causes, but also understanding that the object that one goes to refuge for, which is the three jewels, that they possess having the faith and conviction that they possess the power to be able to protect us from falling into the lower realms. So having that faith of conviction in the three jewels. So here essentially having these two causes for refuge, fear as well as faith. Yes. So here in general, having the causes for going for refuge is fear and dread towards rebirth in the lower realms, and also faith towards the three jewels. If both these factors are powerful, if one has strong fear of the lower realms, suffering in the lower realms, as well as strong faith towards the three jewels, then one's practice of refuge becomes extremely powerful. If these two factors are very strong in our mind streams, then the actual refuge, resultant refuge, the result of going for refuge becomes extremely powerful. So if one, however, if one does not actually have these causes, strongly embedded in our minds, or these factors are not so powerful, then our refuge should be just mere, limited to just mere verbal repetition, of refuge prayers, and then it does not become very strong or powerful for transforming our minds. So here, the analogy given is for a person who has committed a serious offense, broken the law, and then this person, will truly, having understood the seriousness, of such a offense, then generates great fear towards such an act. The results that would come forth from such an act, and then they constantly search. Punishment. Okay, they're afraid of punishment. Then they search for a means for protecting themselves from suffering. Then, looking for the means for protection, then they'll look for someone to be able to protect them, and then therefore they will look for someone that they will knowingly, that they know this person has the ability. They have to have the understanding or knowledge of this person as truly having the ability to protect them. And then having found such a person that they can trust, then they would entrust themselves entirely from the depths of their heart, to that person to be able to protect them. So on the contrary, on the other hand, if you having found somebody who can protect you, but yet in your mind, you still have doubts, thinking, oh, basically this person is going to help me, but then you're not really sure whether this person has the ability or not. So you're not entrusting, from the bottom of your heart. So then, not necessarily, since lack of confidence may not necessarily work. So in this case, then you need to have faith in the three jewels to understand, having understood that the three jewels have such power to protect us from the lower realms, and then having the strong conviction of faith of conviction from the depths of one's heart, and to not, so therefore, if having understood this, has a strong faith and conviction in one's heart, then one's practice of refuge becomes extremely powerful. Yes. Then following that, based on such causes of refuge, then the following sections explain about the objects to which you go for refuge. And this is divided into two sections. Firstly, identifying the objects to which you go for refuge. And secondly, the reasons why they are worthy to be a refuge. Yes.
거에 나오나 동되게 대형의 점대는 보나 주신 나서 사야 되는 동안 이거지 대형이 근데 고한 고대를 qabla 더 잘라서 용문을 온게 중에 동안 나서 저게 용을 봐야 돼 근데 대린 거는 잡지 다 대린 동안 용도 거나 다 소리 잡는 로고를 거는 잡는 지스네 트리서 뭐지 근데 대단해 가다 생시 요나네 다 손이 좀 내나 잡는 거를 레스티 내면서 뭐지 손이 말이야 대체도 단도 뭐 닝 손차 되고 배마도 같이나 배마도
또 배워도 배졌지.
또 배장을 좀 봐서 뭐 같이 봐서는 세주이 뭐 저는 배마스
The praise that
So then we have this the praise. There's a praise here, the praise in 150 verses, which is like a composed by the master Lobun Bawa in praise of the Bhagavan Buddha. So it is also interlaced with sayings not only of Lobun Bawa but also with the quotation of Bhagavad Dignaga, Mahatma Dignaga. So here, so these are interlaced together, and then here in the form of question and answer. In the form of question and answer. So here you have the answer. The question was the section on the bottom of page 178, and then the page one, top page 179. That there is the answer. So here, in praise of Bhagavan Buddha, then the Lobun Bawa mentioned that the one in whom no fault can ever exist, the one in whom all good qualities exist. Here, praising the quality of the Bhagavan Buddha, that all the Buddha is without any fault, has eradicated all faults, and then hence is faultless, and the Buddha has completed all trainings in all the qualities, and therefore perfect in all qualities. And then so, if one is sensible, if one is intelligent, and therefore one would go for refuge to such a person, and to also always praise and honor such a being, and to abide within the teaching of such a being. So since this is an answer, then the question is on the bottom of page 178, whereby Dignaga, the great philosopher Dignaga said, asked a question, adrift in the bottomless ocean of cyclic existence, devoured by fierce sea monsters, attachment and delight, to whom should I go for refuge? So here, the bottomless ocean of cyclic existence is an analogy. The bottomless ocean is an analogy for cyclic existence, bottomless and pith, and also seemingly endless, in terms of the vastness of the ocean, cyclic existence. And having fallen into such an ocean, one is being constantly devoured by the various fierce sea monsters. And here, these are fierce sea monsters one of the various afflictive emotions, such as attachment and the like. And due to the influence of such afflictive emotions, then one creates different negative karmas and experiences the results of suffering. One experiences the various sufferings, and in this way, then he says here, to whom should I go for refuge? So here this is posed in the form of a question, and the answer to that is on the top of page 179. Yes.
이말다 근데 자료 때라 성지근조 주근조 견주근조 성지 그러면 다들 자서 요비 좀 생각하셨으나 저 안에 다른 성지근조 자서 요비 좀 생각도 성지근조 자서 요비 좀 생각게 근데 제니 뭐노 딘 손에 자서 요비 시고가
So, Atharva mentioned before that this praise in 150 verses is called such because there are 150 verses in the praise. So then here it says that in the text that his here it refers to going from refuge to the Bhagavan Buddha, the true refuge. But also one can understand the citation to refer also to the three jewels, the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel, and the Sangha jewel. Even though it expressly refers to the refuge of the Buddha jewel, however, one can understand it in the same context regarding to the other two jewels of the Dharma and the Sangha.
教授被准证的一些的同胞呢，让你现在对比当年结果没有公布托的些的，但马他们结完了对不да，现结果他们就是就把没有比些了，你把那他们就是对上对他们给比些了，但没那教授说不管没有比些了，什么呢？推荐全部都对比些的，但没那教授说没就比些了，一般呢，上山人出发他们就是明年就决定就是你比些的，但没那那平到大概他们就是讲没就比些了，然呢，然后呢。教授被准备的呢，老年机关他们就得找先机关的主给他们给吧，不能推荐什么年龄没办就吧，拍大马的他们就得同在吧，等这些从古有的是。
So here the 4 reasons mentioned in the bottom page 179 is that the 4 reasons why one goes for refuge to the Buddha. First, the first reason is that the Buddha has freed himself from his own fears. Then the second reason is that the Buddha is skilled in freeing others, from their own fears. And the third reason is that due to the mind of loving kindness and compassion, the Buddha has no sense of discrimination amongst his disciples. And then the fourth reason is that he benefits all beings, again without discrimination as to whether the beings have benefited him or not. Yes. So the first, explaining further on, the first reason why the Buddha is free from, one needs to go for object of refuge that is free from all fears. So analogy is given if one is caught in quicksand, then one is unable to save others who are similarly caught in quicksand and sinking in the quagmire of mud, quicksand. So in this case, if both are similarly caught in a similar situation of fear, then one is unable to free another, from that situation, trapped situation. So only a person who is outside of the quicksand, let's say on the banks, of such a quagmire of mud, only are they able to pull the person out from the quicksand. So therefore, the Buddha, in order to protect us from fear, has to be free from all fears himself in the first place. Yes. Then the second quality is that the object of refuge must be skilled in the means of freeing others from their fears. So, for example, if one is free from suffering, not only does one need to be free, the object of refuge needs to be free from suffering itself, it also needs to be skilled in the ways of freeing others from suffering. Otherwise, if they're not skilled, then they will not be able to save others from their suffering. Yeah, free. Yeah. Free from fear. Okay, free from fear. So one needs to be able to, then one is able to free others from fear. So in this case, if one is, for example, if a person has freed themselves, has removed themselves from the quicksand, then, but if they are willing to, but this person has no hands, no limbs to pull the others who are trapped in the quicksand out of that situation. So in that case, then they will not have the ability to free them from that fear of the quicksand. So in this case, one needs to have the capability or the skill and the means of freeing others from fear.
The child, the daughter, is drowned in the river, and the mother is harmless. So even the daughter's heart, she is drowned, has a wish to be free from, to be saved. But that doesn't help the mother who died has no power to grab it. So that is
So if the child has fallen into a river and then does not, and then the mother who is on the riverbanks want even as much desire she wishes to free the child from take the child off the river, but if the mother has no arms and no hands, then she does not have the ability as much as she wishes to pull the child out of the river. Can someone open the doors? It's very stuffy in here. Please. Yes.
연주가도 좀 problem 해봐세요. 대형은 숨이 좀 내는 성게요. 대형은 숨이 좀 내는 그래도 lemme도 손전제에서는 정말 폰세세 먹고저고 거기서는 그래도 폰세세 전제지요. 대다음에요. 손이 좀 내는 게 problem 계획 보안에 되지 라정도 공부하는 거거든요. 근데 인도 도전들이 탐락해 봐서 주고요. 메드 손tren지. 메드 손tren지 해야지. 소문좀. 이제 metponse 이거 로봉이 빌리지. 근데 메구제구주 거기서 다 메톤다지세는 바바도고 돼서 로봇이 나와요. 그 본세세는 유엔에서야 말하는데 아마세로지. 아마세로지는 좀 되는 게 개동 남아지. 그 아마세기 좀 맞아 대세 좋아. 대연도 거는 아니 좀 되는 게 갈래는 담배 그거는 주요 숨어지.
Yes. So in the case of the Angulimala, who was a person in the time of the Buddha, then having relied on the wrong teacher, then he was told to kill 1,000 people to attain liberation, and to string up their fingers, a finger taken for each of the person that he killed, and to string them in the form of a rosary, and then having achieved that, then he would be able to achieve liberation. Then having killed 999 people, then there was one person left to be killed, and that he had run out of people to kill and almost killed his own mother. Then the Buddha, through his miraculous powers, then manifested in the form of an ordinary big fully ordained monk, ordinary aspect of it, manifested in the aspect of a fully ordained monk, then went forth, to guide Angulimala, by showing miraculous powers and so forth, and slowly led him to the path of Dharma, and eventually led him to attain the Sera Arhatship. Yes. Through skillful means, led him through skillful means in such a way. Yes.
그래다 라닌 지고 담제 좋아서야 누가 좋은 거세요. 영대금도 인도 총회를 대형 순위 좀 내는데 문제가 생겨나서 내쇼가 문제가 용되지. 다 문제가 용돼서야 돼. 아니 거기에서 내 본자 탐지 본만이 내가 취 탐지 도관이 담자는 거는 저런 데서 만들어야 돼. 저런 본자인데 보면도 세야기 준도 거와 용기요 말이야. 근데 담지 봐 문제가 니지. 다 이해나 봐. 아니 de pongo res ponja res ngada and then lamre pongo res jen tenyu tela yo chunji go we temare choden drimi do senye tendem pingu ya ma de ne minji go ni chene minji go je yo de ma de tende indu rongin ji go tumje to la se ya de in this thought.
Yes. So that in terms of the Buddha being free from fears himself, then it is said that the Buddha is free from the 4 types of fears. The first freedom is that the Buddha can say that he has freed himself of all the faults of cyclic existence within cyclic existence, and he has realized all the dharmas. Therefore, no one is able to say that the Buddha has yet to abandon such fault, and the Buddha has yet to realize or accomplish such a dharma or teaching. So therefore, the Buddha, in terms of his own achievements, then is free from these 2 fears. And also, then the Buddha is able to teach others what is to be abandoned. That in terms of achieving liberation, you need to abandon such faults. And also, this is a fault. This is a fault, an object of abandonment. Then you need to abandon this. And when the Buddha is able to teach that clearly, also the Buddha is able to say, to teach the disciples that such and such phenomena is the path, is an object of meditation. You should take this up and meditate upon it. So in this manner, then the Buddha is, no one can say that the Buddha is unable to point out. The Buddha has not pointed out such and such an object of abandonment. He has left out such an object of abandonment, or the Buddha has left out such a teaching, in his teaching, such a path of meditation. So therefore, the Buddha is free from these 2 fears. So therefore, the Buddha is said to be free from all these 4 fears. In the case of when we're talking about himself being free from his own fears.
근데 손제 좀 된데 그거는 투지 좀 내려면 요구요. 근데 인도 강가도 동제 그래서 근데 그거는 투지 좀 내려면 요구하세요. 다 손좀 내네. 근데 세다 전제다. 근데 손제 중요한 제도 주도 쉬야다. 다 근데 손제를 좋아하면 뭐 뭔가 상대가 뒤지는 못해. 그래서 좀 내는 거 년행자 해서 그다음에 다 기지 그래 마주에 내인나네 싫어지대 갑나 그래서 좀 내는 게 된다서 내마다 너 세다 된다 니가 그서로 대진이나 년행자 해서 대매와티 대마 대다 때문에 대진 나서 잡아 쉬어서 근데 대진 뭐 좋으시 제대로 대진 나서 잡아요.
So in this case, then the 3rd quality of the Buddha, the object of refuge, is that the Buddha has great compassion, and this compassion refers to having not having the discrimination between those who are close to him and those that are distant. No sense of discrimination. So it is said that the Buddha, if the Buddha does not have such a form of compassion, then the Buddha will work only to benefit or to accomplish the aims of those that are close to him and not accomplish the aims of others. So in this case, this is not a case since we said that the Buddha has great compassion. So therefore, to the Buddha, there's no sense of closeness or distance in regards to other sentient beings. As the Buddha himself has said that there is no difference for him between his own child, Rahula, who was ordained into the Sangha, his own child as well, and also the difference between that and his enemy, Devadatta, his cousin Devadatta, who had tried to kill him by throwing rocks at him from a distance, and also causing dissension in this Sangha community and so forth. So the Buddha had said that he had completely no sense of discriminations, no sense of difference between his own child and his enemy. So one time, then Devadatta, due to his evil deeds, had fallen sick, and then the Buddha went forth and healed him by pronouncing the truth of such equality, of lack of discrimination, by saying that because there's no, in my heart there's no difference between my child Rahula and my enemy Devadatta. My compassion is equal to both of them. And by the truth of these words, may Devadatta may be healed. So then he put his hand upon Devadatta's head, and by pronouncing these words of truth, Devadatta was indeed healed of his sicknesses. Yes. So here, then, the fourth quality here is that the Buddha is an worthy object of refuge because he is not pleased. He has no discriminations against those that have been beneficial to him and those who have not. So in general, from the worldly point of view, those people that have benefited us, then we have a sense of gratitude and we hold them close and dear to our heart to readily respond to their needs. However, those that have not been of any direct benefit to us, then we keep a distance and we remain cold, turn a cold shoulder towards them. So, however, for the point of the Buddha, that there's no difference whether someone has made material offerings to him or not, whether one has benefited Buddha or not. His compassion is equal, and there's no discrimination in that sense. So, and also in the teachings, it is said that the true master, true spiritual master, is not pleased by material offerings, but is pleased by practice, by the offering of one's own practice. So therefore, here, by referring to the quality of the Buddha as being such, it also has a connotation of referring to the teachings regarding the qualities of the spiritual master. So then in the text it further says that such qualities are only endowed or can be found in the Buddha and are not found in the other worldly gods, such as Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, and so forth. All these top worldly gods, and even though they have such high status, they do not possess these qualities. So, for example, the first quality of being free from being oneself free from all fears, then this quality is endowed only in the Buddha. The other worldly gods such as Shiva and so forth, all these are gods who are still under the control of their delusions, being under the control of afflictive emotions. So it is said that the Shiva is like under the influence of desire, and Vishnu is under influence of anger, and Brahma is under the influence of ignorance. So therefore, being under the influence of such afflictive emotions, they are not free from their own fears. And so, since they are not free from their own fears, they will not have the skillful means to free others from fear as well. Then that's lacking the second quality. Then third quality, having great compassion, which they do not have. And also they also lack in the fourth quality of not discriminating against those who have not made offerings to them and material offerings to them, and siding with those who have made material offerings to them. So being free of discrimination. So here in the text it refers to the divine creator, so on. So Rinpoche mentioned like Maheshwara, which is Shiva, etc. These worldly gods do not have such qualities. So even though in worldly practice there are a lot of worldly people, they go for refuge to such gods of nature, such as the deities, the worldly gods residing in the water, residing in trees, in mountains, and so forth. However, these gods, since they themselves do not possess these four qualities, therefore they are not worthy objects of refuge, and they cannot protect us from fear. Yes. So therefore, having become Buddhist, then it is not appropriate to go for refuge from the depths of one's being, or the depths of one's heart, towards such worldly deities, worldly gods, because they're not able to protect us from fear. But however, it is sometimes permissible when one requires to seek their cooperation or their assistance in certain worldly affairs, to give them some gifts, gives them some gifts in the form of certain kinds of offerings, and then to request them to assist oneself or to cooperate in bringing out success of some matters. However, other than that, it is not. So it does not. By doing that in that way, as long as in one's mind one does not go for refuge from the depths of one's heart, then there is no contradiction to that. So, however, if one goes for refuge from the depths of one's heart when seeking assistance from these deities, then this contradicts one's precepts of refuge practice. And also on occasions, sometimes even the deities would, these worldly gods, will harm us in return to our prayers. Instead of helping us, sometimes they will harm us. Yes. So if one goes for refuge to these worldly deities from the depths of one's heart, sometimes one will receive harm from these worldly deities.
At the beginning, it's worldly. There was a God. If you, with the whole heart, if you round dim, the danger is that they will protect you at the beginning, but then the other beings who harm you, they are more powerful than the worldly devil that you love from the heart. You say from the bottom of your heart you love the world devil. So in that case, when the world devil cannot protect you, because the other being who harm you are more powerful, then what they do is then they kill you. Then the world devil they kill you, and then after that, then you get born as the entourage to the present beings. Entourage. Also, this world devil, they get something to eat or something from you after they kill you. So you can't really, from bottom of your heart, can't really trust holding your life to those world devils, those who don't have complete power as the Tibetans.
이마다 이제 되면다 파잡지 지나 잡지 지는데 선노와 정면에 된데 용게 와래. 이제다 이마 레지나니 샤르 차센스니 센 그래서 된지가 요아이 말이 센 차서 침무지. 근데 심진 선예지 이마지가 심진 마찬가지. 너무도 사로 제대로거나 샤르차세 요사대 니에된 거. 대니에데 대건다데 대니 동제 소지. 메세 샤고시죠. 고시자는 거나 지게라치 샤지게라치. 근데 맨 심진 선예대는 바친 거지가 거. 근데 지게라치인데 다 대고 오셨어. 대 바트고 대고 공다대 코바메가 차오시 맞대 다 대바메가 차인데 아니 바연은 저게 엔쇼 간듯이 해봤어요 아 된데 샤트한테 트레이너도 로지 자성스 제대로 그다 샤트한테 잡지 지진 바메가 영향을 지도 요던지 지 대대자들 대공다 이원들이 소화인 말 소화제 누구나 아니 가성을 봐야 돼 사야 신분들도 쓰는 이야기가 아다데 사인 사롱면도 비공다 파지 앞셔서 비고 바이니 공원 파는 거죠 고바이 자차 그래서 무슨 잡진 치버로 잡진 치는 공성의 침들해야 돼 고바 투바라고다.
So there's a
like you can ask them for help temporary things, like offer incense or something, things like that, so forth. But can't really, with the whole heart, can't really rely on them. Then that there are so many stories that they trusted this world devils, but you receive a lot of harm from them.
So there are instances where, by going for refuge from Desert One's heart to the worldly deities, then one receives harm in return instead of benefit. So in the past, there used to be this one cliff, a place in Tibet, one cliff that was known to have many spirits abiding there. So there was one herder of animals. One day he was herding animals in the vicinity, and one of his herd animals was missing. And in part of searching for it, then it became very late in the day and was unable to return. The sky grew dark and was unable to return to the camp. And so it became very dark. Then he slept by the cliff in the cave, the cave in the cliff. So then, by nighttime, the place became inhabited with ghosts. Then the spirits came and sort of gathered in the place. Then they sort of like wanted to flesh. So Shakyamuni is the name of the deva. So anyway, this guy, the spirit resides in the region. Shakyamuni. So and then so the spirits had gathered together and was distributing flesh for consumption to various people they killed. Then there was a piece of flesh that was insufficient. A piece of flesh was missing. So then this person was sleeping there.
From one spirit, I think the share is missing. The spirit share is missing. That's not enough.
So there was one spirit's share of meat was missing. Then they saw this person who was sleeping in the cave, and said that person had a goiter, a lump growing in his neck. And so they said, why don't you just take the lump, for consumption, that goiter for consumption. So then of course, when the person next day when he woke up, then his goiter was gone. So then he fell. So then he went back into where he came from, his camp, vicinity, his community. So another person with goiter wanted to know. Then saw that his goiter was gone. This person's goiter was gone. Then he was very surprised and asked him where he went for healing. So this person said, "Oh, I was sleeping in this cave last night and I was healed of my goiter." So then of course this person, the second person with the goiter, is going,
what did you do?
What do you do? What do you do to get rid of the goiter? So I said, I just slept at this place and the cliff, and then I was healed of my goiter. So the second person with devotion then went for refuge. With the mind of going for refuge, went to this place to rely on that place, to heal his goiter, and slept there. However, then again that night, the spirits gathered together to rely on the spirits. So with the mind of going for refuge and relying on the spirits, then he went to this cave, and the next day, that very night, then the spirits again gathered together, and then the spirit who had received the goiter from the last night then replied saying that the goiter I received last night was not sumptuous, not delicious. So just maybe and that guy just sleeping there by the side, maybe just put it back on. So the guy who went for refuge, the spirit woke up the next day having 2 goiters. He had an additional goiter from the previous night. So this is an instance of how you can be harmed by going for refuge to woolly beings, woolly gods.
If you trust them from the heart.
If you trust such woolly gods from the depths of your hearts.
다들 대체는 잡서 의비 위치만 상황인 자타 된 내용이요. 어주소나 maybe 다 대리가 위치 손대야 돼. 다 손지 좀 되겠지. 대니점이나 대체를 대tem비 주도 대니도 이게 내용 잡서 의소. 다 손지 좀 된데 잡서 위치 상황인들 대tem비 주 그다 모델은 남대니 그래 대니요. 잡서 그래. 대수지도 두배 견도 군전은 잡서 그래 했네. 근데 잡
So therefore, understanding that these worldly deities are not worthy objects of refuge, such qualities such as being free from the 4 fears, and endowed with the 4 qualities that makes one a worthy refuge, as mentioned before, then such qualities only the Buddha is endowed with such qualities. Other worldly gods such as Maheshwara and Shiva and so forth are not endowed with such qualities. So therefore, then understanding the Buddha being free from the 4 fears, endowed with such 4 qualities, he becomes a worthy object of refuge. And also the teaching that he expounds, the teaching the true truth, the truth of cessation and the true path, the true cessation and the true path. These 2 truths, which are the essence of his teachings, these are also become worthy objects of refuge, and also his community, which is the Sangha, then also becomes a worthy object of refuge. So here, the teaching refers to makes a reference to three jewels as worthy objects of refuge.
대상대로 뭔가 초등학교 신신지 초등 심지 그니고 제자다 선보 원의 추조 만설에 대리지고 지금 공신한다 너는 다시하게 도는 거 조직과의 주단 초대신만 개념에도 제예나 도군이 초대는 너도 농기도 더 기본에 노한테 히 손소 이 말이다 근데 저도 주시에 전에 거기서 총대 손이 좀 되는 총대하지 자 전에는 인 타반에 니바총 다제 집에데 저도 비좀데 이제 총한테 니바 년에 제 집에 너도 제와이나 그래서 손지금 좀 쓰고 말해서 메시아 가르에서 매좀 메시아 가르에서나 라오도 하는 저바 대라 윤인 총국이 그래서 치진 그래다 론인 집하다 도와 나서바 된게 잡수를 주지했더니 손이 좀 되는 총이요. 티죠. 다 농이 된 가르고서나 근데 레텔리주변에 봐야 이 집이 거네. 근데 제tinch한테 거기요래. 그다음 가서 손이 좀 된데 치 주진 감각 드롭스 말에데 농게네 바 제tinch한테 맞아오니까 되네다가 얘들네 그런게 레타 대주변에 봐야 이 집이 거기 제tinch와 총이나 체진의 감각총 농게 된 총이자 다 주진 총인데 누구 조금 그러와. 근데 무조건 메시가 해서
So like this understanding, the Buddha has all these four characteristics that define a worthy object of refuge. So understanding the Buddha and the three jewels has such qualities, then one goes for refuge. Having achieved certainty or conviction in one's mind regarding such qualities of the Buddha, then one should entrust wholeheartedly, with a single-pointed focus in one's mind. One should entrust oneself wholeheartedly to the three jewels. If one does so, then it's not possible that the three jewels will not protect us. And the reason for that is that in order to free ourselves from fear, two reasons or two factors are required. The external factor of the Buddha. In this case, the teacher Buddha has freed himself from all fears. And the second, which is the inner condition, entrusting oneself wholeheartedly to the object of refuge. So in this case, in our situation, do you have the external factor, which is the Buddha, whereby the Buddha has already accomplished, completed his accomplishment of freedom from all fears. However, our internal condition, internal factor of the mind of faithful entrustment, having faith in the qualities of the Buddha and total entrustment for the depths of our hearts to this object of refuge. This factor is lacking. Therefore, we do not accomplish that. So therefore, when these two factors, and conditions, causes and conditions, these two factors are complete. Therefore, then the fruit, this will definitely bear fruit, bear results of the refuge practice.
이 말에 다 손제 좀 된데 파 잡주네 레드자와이나 존재바 마세 마초가 있나요? 민주 주무도네 존재바 된데 요래서 말에 다 뭐만네 손제 이제는 패드 감다 transition 모두 봐서야지다 좀 봐봐 내 transition 모두 봐서네 코나 다 모두 그때 뭐 처음이야지 다 근데 코로나 모두 그때 처음이야니까 매질 때만 이제 주의진 면면서 신나서 되는 주의진 대장이지. 그런 거. 근데 좀 된데다 도자들이 타다 개봐다 돈이 좀 좋아하네. 된들이 체도 또 잡지면도 양마가 되는 반들이 체도 코레용 나오면서 된지 주가도 이제 매연의 고추도 근데 대 코로나 나오면서 된지 주의시네 근데 컴포넌트 주의 그리고 제대로 그거 다죠 다로가 니에서 근데 저런 주고 말이 소시어서 근데 좀 된데 거다 파페 힘들고 그러죠 근데 가게까지 주소 전에 근데 돈제 받정거든 근데 맞죠요 투지심을 통해 돈제 봐서 된대요.
So also the Bhagavan Buddha, it is said that not only does Bhagavan Buddha protect and benefit us when we seek refuge to the Buddha, when we generate hope and trust ourselves to the Buddha, but also when one does not have such hope or entrust oneself, then the Buddha is said, due to the power of great compassion, the Buddha is said to benefit others, irregardless of whether they actually entrust themselves to him for refuge, go for refuge to him or not. Because due to the power of great compassion, he benefits even those who do not entrust themselves to him. So it is at the time when the Buddha was abiding, the teacher Buddha was abiding in this world, that there was a great Brahmin called Medupa, which means the ugly one, unpleasant one. He was born with such unpleasant physical appearance that he had great shame and embarrassment and was unable to remain amongst the ordinary people. So due to his great shame, he escaped amidst the forest and lived in the forest. Then the Buddha, who was skilled in the methods for taming the disciples, then even though the Brahmin did not seek refuge in the Buddha, then the Buddha, due to the power of his great compassion, that manifested in a form that was even uglier, more hideous in appearance than this Brahmin, and then went forth into the forest. So normally when the Brahmin saw people approaching, then he would escape or flee, to hide himself in order to, due to his great shame and embarrassment. However, now he saw someone approaching who was even more hideous looking than he was. Then he was extremely happy, extremely pleased, and then therefore this manifestation.
At the beginning, the Buddha's meditation was much more obvious. To start by seeing the other Brahmin who's running away. At the beginning.
Who was beginning?
The Buddha's meditation had exercise. Even as more ugly than the other Brahmin, then at the beginning start by seeing the other Brahmin start running away. Like how the other one used to do.
Okay, so the reverse roles this time. And then, so the manifestation of Buddha then did exactly what the Brahmin used to do when he saw other people approaching. Then the manifestation of Buddha saw the Brahmin and then ran away. Because he was uglier, that manifestation was uglier in appearance, more hideous in appearance. And so then the Brahmin more uglier than the Brahmin. So the ugly Brahmin then told him that manifestation, no need to fear, come close to me. So that he was very happy to find such a companion, and they became good friends, acquaintances. Then over time, this manifestation of Buddha taught him Dharma, taught his Brahmin Dharma, and hence rendered the life of the Brahmin to come to possess great meaning, become meaningful. So in this way, then the Buddha, is said to benefit those who do not seek refuge in him.
다 텐데 따진 노네 그게 모든 원진 도나 남성도 성격에 전에 배면 모든 요용이 와요. 텐데인데 대답을 점내서 뭐 롱게 뭔데 쇼데 요한테 시바체는 잡는 거를.
So then the Buddha is said to also, when the Buddha at all times, is sort of like seeking out the disciples, whether disciples are ready or ripened to be tamed. And there's no one time where the Buddha does not tame disciples when it is the right time. So unlike some other beings, when it's time to benefit others, a suitable time to benefit the disciples when they're ripened, then due to the force of laziness, then they do not go ahead immediately. So it is said that Buddhas throughout 6 times of the day, are always constantly observing sentient beings, seeing who is ripened and who isn't, and who is suitable to be established in the path of liberation, or who is the perfect vessel, a ripened vessel, to be established for teachings, to be established in the path to omniscience. So whether the sentient beings, who are the objects to be tamed, then whether at what point of time, are they ready to be ready for such teachings, so-called a ripened or a suitable vessel. So when the ripening occurs, at that very instant when they become a suitable vessel, a worthy vessel for the teachings, then the Buddha's enlightened activities effortlessly, spontaneously manifest, in order to benefit those beings. So in this case, then it is that the Buddha, due to this, he's not lazy and he's the unrivaled and auspicious refuge. Yes.
이마다 되게 또 단대 되게를 되잖아. 이제 시서. 되네다 sabje 다게 조건나 되는 접선으로. 대는 고안의 접선으로 해요. 제삼지 접선 수세야. 선바데. 제삼 접선 손에 도반의 손바 예대 이마다 도바 바바 통명의 제베 도바세야. 되노나 이요 대시비거나 접선으로. 제벌 시비거나 접선으로. Chenmo going to Jason Roa, Yen the Mamma going to Jason Roa, Jason Song Asea, and the song.
So then the verses at the bottom of page 180, these basically repeat the same qualities as mentioned above. Then regarding going for refuge, then the third section in training for going for refuge is the actual way of going for refuge. Then here explains the 4 aspects of going for refuge in accordance with the Vinaya. That the first one is by knowing the good qualities of your refuge. Secondly, by knowing the distinctions. Thirdly, through commitment. And fourthly, by refusing to acknowledge other refuges. So then here of these, the first one is going for refuge by knowing the good qualities, and so like in this section one requires recalling the recollection of the good qualities of the objects of refuge. Then this has 3 subdivisions: the good qualities of the Buddha firstly, and then secondly the good qualities of teaching the Dharma, and thirdly the good qualities of the community, the Sangha.
다 손재의 용대 전바대나 동본의 제대에서 고유용대, 송유용대, 토지용대, 천연지용대 용대 이제 상.
Then the first one, the good qualities of the Buddha, again is explained in 4 parts. The qualities of the holy body, qualities of holy speech, qualities of the holy mind, and qualities of the enlightened activities.
동본의 제대, 고유용대는 산재진 천도 배제소문은 이다 전발체바대 대양 빼다 도바대 초근 천지 제조로 니조 몇개도 되는 점에 돈이 나가다 가면 소지 제반자 이말 다 소화 손제 좀 내내나 근데 공사시에는 매봐 제게 그래 센스 무슨 짓이다 배제소 뭐 제조스 구수다 근데 제게 요대 말아지
Then firstly, we collect the qualities of the Buddha's body. Then it is said that the teacher and founder Bhagawan Buddha has physical attributes that are not possessed by other beings. The physical attributes such as the 32 major marks and the 80 minor exemplifications.
이말다 senso 무슨 뜻이 아니었어요. 다 왜 주도지. 아니 저것인데 버지. 다 파텐이를 다 정보 편향이. 초대해가지고 내 인지 지지되니 저것이야. 근데 차 샤다. 대신 트리다 코드를 모르네. 코도. 서치 코도 다. 반제되거나 코도로 머지네 요다지. 근데 라비 투가이나 이건 잡고 마도 두고 그래야 그래다 대인 정배에 용대 진짜 성이 성과를 제
So then the 32 major marks such as the crown protrusion at the top of the Buddha's head. There's a crown protrusion, and also the brown curl. The brow curl, which is there's a hair that's curled to the right, emits the middle of the Buddha's eyebrows, and instead when you pull this hair, it is a very long distance, and when you let go, it sort of springs back and curls naturally in the clockwise direction. So this is called a brow curl. And also there are marks of Dharma wheels on the hands and the feet of the Buddha, and in the shape, the resemblance of golden Dharma wheels. And when you look at these wheels, they look as if they are protruding, they're protruding from the surface of the Buddha's hands and feet. But when you actually touch the Buddha's hands and feet, then they're actually flat. One does not feel the protrusion, but by looking from a distance, it looks as if it has a 3D dimension to it. It feels as if it is a three-dimensional look, as it is protruding from the Buddha's hands and feet.
이 말이다. senso 무슨 뜻이냐서야 돼. 런이 다 전에 처방 법에 지우 담바 총재 된대지게 숨순이 체제 말에 다 배제해야 돼. 요 지우 담바 고발 제비 빼다. 이제 배제해야 돼. 근데 되니 다 정보에서 샤 senso지 배제된 코에서
So the Buddha has such 32 major marks. Then the 32 major marks or signs, then these are to show that to demonstrate the Buddha as a superior being, that is to differentiate the Buddha as a being that is more superior and noble than other persons or beings. Then the exemplification, the 80 exemplifications are sort of like in order to incite respect, I think, to Shengi. So they're sort of like examples for others to understand the qualities, to understand the qualities, come to understanding of the qualities of the Buddha. So therefore, this is like an analogy of the Lord and the entourage. So then the two major marks are like it's like the Lord itself, and the entourage. The 80 minor exemplifications are like the entourage. Yes.
동지 뒤에서는 dream에 나가대 신도 동바지 이거고. 근데 나가 신도 동바대라 감에서 그 제연도거나 더 지고 싶지 그러지. 대노지는 손지 구조대 동바는 지고 요거나 대거나 체인지 제연도거나 동지 나가라 감에 제바라고
So in the here Lama Tsongkhapa recalls the qualities of the Buddha's body by quoting the praise of example, extremely attractive and beautiful, and on top of that, it's marked of this 32 major marks and 80 minor exemplifications. Therefore, it makes it even more appealing, more beautiful. Yes.
손이 좀 된데 단다 라자 동바 꿈도 살고 세진도 괜지 대단한 남자 담마스 근데 초용도 세지를 쯤마다 니마샤노 참 좀마마세게 추들이서도 도스.
So then, in this case, then also the Buddha's holy body is said to be golden in color, and then being wrapped, the Buddha also uses the religious robes of maroon or orange-colored robes. So in this case, it's extremely beautiful sight to perceive, likened to a golden mountain peak wrapped in the clouds of sunrise, so the time the sun is about to rise or about to set. Yes.
모두 전제 맞은 사진은 너무 나외진 거지. 어떻게 잡아 된 맞지. 좀 되는 게 다. 그래도 좀 아니다. 진짜 단지 봉가로 제요 막. 제매나요. 셰레긴 너한테 세보시고요. 그래서 근데 나외진 거 신의 제가 진지 맞을 것 같은데 너한테다 좀 되는 게 셰게 너한 제가 있나? 좀 되는 게 셰 너도 셰가 세가 도스.
Then also the next verse talks about the Buddha. Since the Buddha is monastic, then therefore it does not partake of different jewels. Doesn't wear different jewelry ornaments to adorn his physical appearance. However, even then, the Buddha's physical face, his actual facial looks are so clear and beautiful that it is said even the full moon that is free of clouds, and it cannot be compared to such appealing appearance of the Buddha's face.
저제 시에제 배만 하나님의 가져 부민도 배만 태소정당 안정줄 근데 좀 되는 게 시에다 런지 좀 마보요 되지. 근데 시에제 배면서 그거는 마보지. 대다 배만님이 카세 된게 배만 마보지. 부민 통용도 되거나. 근데 배만 가래 있나서는 태성사고야 된되게 지고요 그러죠.
The next verse praises the Buddha's face, which has a reddish tinge to it, similar to a lotus. So then, even if when the actual red lotus flower were to bloom open in the sun, in the rising sun, then if the bee were to come chance upon the situation, then even the bee would doubt as to which was the real lotus.
조제 세진 도대마 생간 제거 주관에 세지르스 통과에 나서 점이 주관자 좀 되는 게 시에진 통 난다 세고로 얘들은 sem가보 sem가보니 막 정식적 한번 통화 되는 용요. 근데 이 sem가보 그러다 시에 세고지 대지가 sem가보에 세지르 세라 나와쇼 되어서 나와요서
So then the next verse praises the
doubt.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the beauty of the beauty of the Buddha's face would make the bee doubt which was the real lotus one could.
Lotus Hulma, like lotus. The Hulma is red. Not the whole face red.
So then,
the saying like lotus is a poetic way expressed. The lotus opened by the sun. When the lotus opened by the sun, the bee sees that. Then get into doubt. So means that so beautiful. So they use an example as poetic. So beautiful that wonders how this is.
So I think it's because the word shell here is mentioned in Tibetan and is an honorific term for the mouth as well. So it can also mean the face of face, honorific term for face, and also honorific term for mouth. So in any way, then the next verse here mentions about the teeth of the Buddha. Then the Buddha's since the Buddha's face is golden in color, then the teeth are said to be very straight and extremely white, and there are like 40 teeth in the mouth of the Buddha. So therefore, by looking at the teeth of the Buddha, it's almost like the beams of the moon beams shining through rows of the gaps between golden mountains, shining through the golden mountains, so it has that kind of appearance. Yes.
초초제 차이는 고든센지죠. 고위점은 차가 문제자봐라. 다 사역은 세는 고도요다를. 사장한테는 고도요다인데 뒤에 가는 송요세나 고위점인데 고하는 송도 만나 짜는 게매 대체나 저는 제고 말은 해잡고서는 오진이 소다도.
So then the Buddha's hands, then after one of the signs of the golden wheels, so then the Buddha makes the mudra or the gesture of clarifying or relieving the beings who are trapped in the suffering of cyclic existence, caught in the fears of cyclic existence, saying that they do not need to fear, for the Buddha is able to protect them from such fears, so thereby giving relief to these beings.
Holding Buddha's body around the wheels down, so that giving breath, the freedom to the samsara beings.
법주 시발 중에서 샤미 빠지 빼만 사진을 지지고 빼만 대단지 시에서보다 정말 차고 다 손이 좀 낸데 폐비 까불라 그랬다 샵사는 그게요 말이에요 샵사는 말이고 폐기 어레데 이나 샵지 단다 콜리지에서 사지거나 다른 뭐 쓰고 네 인다 텐데제네 폐비 까불라 사지를 못 지어야 돼 지고시고도 메토 빼미 살다 빼미지 그래 사진 지바 대다 좀 내게네 샤브기 지 코드를 모두 된대요다 제인데 되니제나 좀 내게 대체가 좀 봐봐야지.
So therefore, when the Buddha is moving, walking on the earth, then the Buddha's feet are said to not touch the actual ground. The Buddha's feet does not touch the ground. However, then when the Buddha is walking, even though his feet does not touch the ground, the wheels, the Dharma wheels that appear in the soles of the Buddha's feet are said to be naturally imprinted clearly on the ground wherever the Buddha has passed by. So therefore, then these wheels of these images of the Dharma wheel that appear on the ground are said to be so intricate and beautiful that they are even more beautiful than the splendid lotuses. Therefore it says here, how can it be beautified lotus gardens? Even the splendid open lotuses in full bloom, their beauty cannot be compared with the beauty of the Dharma wheels that are left imprinted clearly on the ground where the Buddha has walked upon.
다 폐백감나 샤워상 말이지. 남자 초백감나 남자 그래 그것도 만자지. 소시에서 만자가 되려 요소 말이야. 이거 제도는 반 제비 있나? 그 이해돼서 남자 제도는 요대가. 너는 제나 말이봐. 근데 용기다. 그래서 성질이 되는
Then also, other than the Buddha's feet not actually touching the ground, then when the Buddha is wearing his Dharma robes, then it is said that the robes do not cling onto the Buddha's body. They sort of like float at the distance of like 4 finger widths away from the Buddha's body. Even though externally, when you look at the Buddha's body, this is not apparent. No one sees the shape of the Buddha's body being pronounced on the robes. Then the robes seem to pronounce the physical shape of the Buddha's body. However, internally it's said that the robes are floating at the width of 4 distance away from the Buddha's body. They do not actually touch the Buddha's body when he's wearing the robes.
다 되는 거 거든요. 나는 가서 포도게를 제일 준비 거 쓰게와. 된 노시에는 저 제가 못 보고 그래. 대형은 예로한다. 근데 저게 막 타면 이제 교회에서 왔지도 봐. 제게 근데 선제지 바로 공부 진도 그래서 다 되는지는 바로 공부 못 보는 거 봐. 예지도. 대내 책을 말해서 다 되는게는 대전주 저게 개와 전주지 근데 배지 제도 근데 전에 배지 자주죠 배지 자주주에 개와 전주지 천송고 또 저보다 또 뭐도 bes음죠 레레레는 좀 이만 야야지
So in the requesting prayers and lineage gurus, they recite the beginner prayers. Then there has this verse which says, "Whose body was formed by 10 million perfect virtues." So therefore, one requires a lot of virtue, good karma, to be able to achieve the physical form of the Buddha's body. Then it is said that all the roots of virtue of all the arhats, the hearers, collected together, then all these merits would be only sufficient to accomplish only one hair pore of the Buddha's body. And since the Buddha has a lot of the pores in his body, like there are said to be 21,000 pores. Therefore, I can imagine how much merit is required for that. And then 100 times of the such merit is required to accomplish one of the 80 minor exemplifications. And so altogether there are 80. So just to accomplish one requires 100 times the merit of that before. Then 100 times of the merit of that, of creating of those minor exemplifications is required to accomplish one of the Buddha's major marks. So there are 32 major marks. So one can imagine that one can understand that there's so much virtue merit is required to achieve the physical form of the Buddha.
배지 숨좀 두비 가서 천 숨좀 존재지 선나 번저지 저거 두고서 저거 두비 선나 범저지 왜또 두고서
So the 1,000 times the merit to achieve the rest of the 32 marks is required to accomplish the brow curl between the Buddha's forehead, Buddha's eyebrows, and then 100,000 times the merit of that is required to achieve the crown protrusion or the crown pinnacle of the Buddha on top of the Buddha's head. Yes.
이말다 근데 소던 루비 소남부라 자주비 송취지 당부고요. 송취지 당부.
So 100,000 times of the merit to achieve that crown pinnacle is required to achieve the Dharma speech, the speech of the son of Dharma, of the Buddha's, the holy speech of the Buddha, which is like the melodious voice of Brahma. Yes.
다 대답하는데 선제 좀 내게 다 저 빠르면 같이 뭔데
not like melodious of Brahma. That's wrong. This tongue is a perfect speech, perfect tune. Tongue is perfect. Perfect word of Brahma.
Sorry, the perfect melodious speech of the Buddha.
이말 다 좀 내게 이제 뭐 중주스미 가보다 여기서 뭔가지 좀네 대답에네 단다 거의 용된 로빙 머리 인데 다게네 제제 마송을 봐 손지지 좀 잡아서 손대야 다 거의 용된 인데는 손다 도다 전에 이거든요 안된 용지 용으로 근데 나도 좀 주의나 근데 손지라 근데 조금 유바매가다 근데 매가래 조금 유바여가 이치바 이치비 거는 점수 송하나 음메 좀 보면서 봐. 근데 인데 점번 넘버 다 건생 거를 가서 내서 동안 쉬고 봐. 근데 동안 전에 이제 저거도지 대본에 선점돼 되나. 용대에서 전배 거는 조빈도 봐요. 이치비 거는 노는 이제 좋아이나 좀 보고. 네, 좀 수익 좋아이나요. 돈들 전배이나 근데 배용 친구. 근데 잠을 평형 송돼야 되지. 그게 총비관에 저도 송하이나 평형 송받듯이 감각이 연결.
So therefore, understanding that the Buddha in the past has accumulated a lot of roots of virtue in order to achieve such a holy form of the Buddha, and also the other qualities of the holy body, holy speech, as well as the holy mind, and so forth. They remember all these qualities, then going for refuge. Going for refuge to the Buddha, then one's refuge becomes extremely powerful. So to generate the strong mind by seeing the qualities of the objects of refuge, then generating the strong mind, a powerful mind of entrustment of oneself to the objects of refuge. So in this case, understanding, as mentioned yesterday, to think about the qualities, recollecting the sufferings of the lower realms, and then generating fear and dread, in one's mind with regard to such sufferings, and then going for refuge to the objects, seeking refuge in the objects of refuge, going for refuge to the three jewels. And if one goes for refuge to three jewels, since they possess such qualities and power, as mentioned before, there is not, the three jewels definitely have the capacity to protect us. So by going for refuge in such a way, one is able to do the practice perfectly, and also by remembering the different qualities. By remembering the different qualities, other than generating strong fear to us, the suffering in the lower realms, remembering the qualities of the objects of refuge, the three jewels, then one is able to practice perfect refuge. It becomes of great benefit to one's practice of refuge. Yes. So all the teachings that you heard today, please keep them in your mind and apply them to actual practice. So we offer the Thanksgiving of our, this is the last teaching of this season, of the lamrim teaching, so we offer the long mandala. Chenmo say the second verse. Yeah.